It's the Sun Devils versus the Bruins in a great Pac-12 matchup. Both teams getting a win in the Pac-12 opener last week. Greg, let's go to you first. UCLA, is this team legit, do you think?
Brian, you just said this is a great Pac-12 matchup, and you want to talk to me about whether UCLA is legit. This is for the Pac-12 South Championship. It seems to me the UCLA's got some good wins, right? UCLA, Hawaii, all kinds of undertones there, right? We've also got them beating LSU and Stanford. Stanford's down, but it's still a legitimate team. I mean, really, man, this is for all the marbles. We know that it can go any kind of way after this. We know that you could win this game and then drop the rest. But Michelle's got some insight on the Pac-12 South. I think this is going to be just a really important game.
Michelle, the Bruins lost to Fresno State. The Sun Devils lose to BYU. Both of these teams, we don't really know who they are yet, do we?
I think we're getting there, and I think with ASU, we saw some progress last week. They made strides in all the right directions where they needed to make strides. Now, granted, it was only against Colorado. That being said, they're going to need to play 4 quarters against this team. I think that this is definitely the driver's seat game. You look at USC, they've obviously got issues if they're giving up 80-something points in consecutive home games. Utah had their starting quarterback quit the team a week ago, in addition to an unfortunate player death over the weekend. Arizona has now gone 2 years without a calendar win, and Colorado is not very good, as we just saw. So whoever wins this game is in a pretty good driver's seat. And if you lose this game, now you've got to hope that UCLA loses to somebody else. And I'm not sure that happens. So this is a huge game, and no matter which way you cut it.
Kent, this feels like a balloon popping type of game if the Sun Devils lose this game. Isn't this like a classic ASU football, build up game?
Yeah, it kind of is. I don't know how big that balloon is now. I think it probably started like this with expectations this season and gradually shrunk, to like this after BYU. And now it's, but yeah, it's in the Rose Bowl against it has all kinds of Pac-12 implications, as Michelle and Greg have said. I think it's a really interesting matchup, partly because of the quarterbacks. ASU is going to rely heavily on Jayden Daniels. This might be the biggest game of his career. UCLA is going to rely on Dorian Thompson-Robison, who came back from injury last week to lead them to victory against Stanford. A lot of intriguing storylines with this. Chip Kelly's offense versus ASU's strength, its defense. I think it's a fun match. Although I don't think either team runs the table after this, no matter how bad the Pac-12 South is. But yeah, it has definite big implications.
I'm going to jump in here real quick.
Do it.
One of the compelling side stories here, too, is Jayden Daniels going back to play in Southern California again. When he was a freshman and he played against UCLA, that was a game that I think ASU was down by as many as 32 points. I think they ended up losing by 10. Jayden actually got hurt in that game and then did not play the next game against USC. So I've got to think that he's going to have a little redemption on his mind. And if this is the last time he plays a game in Southern California, he's going to want to go out on a winning note. So I think there's a little personal redemption storyline there, too, for Jayden.
Greg, the Bruins give up 64 rushing yards. They give up 330 passing yards. Jayden's got to have a good game if this is going to work for the Sun Devils. How do you view this?
I think Jayden's shown a lot the last few weeks, being able to hold onto the ball, stay in the pocket, slide with the pocket, move, and run to throw as opposed to running to run. I was worried about his accuracy earlier in the season. Kent and I have been discussing that. I think he's made some nice throws these last couple of weeks. We haven't seen one of those eye-popping statistical games. And frankly, with the way this offense runs, I would not expect it, especially if those running backs. Listen, UCLA might only allow 64 yards a game on the ground, but ASU's 3 running backs are as good as anybody. And I would put my strength against strength and say, yeah, you can stop the run, but you can't stop our run break those guys in the first quarter and have a different game going forward.
Kent, this is the number one defense for ASU in the Pac-12 right now, and Chip Kelly's offense, coming in, something's got to give here, right?
Yeah, you would think so, and I think this game is I think it's going to be close throughout. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. Can a defense make a play? Which defense makes a play? Which quarterback makes a play? I know, I think great college quarterbacks make plays in the clutch. And I think, if you start looking ahead to what NFL teams might think of Jayden Daniels, this will go a long way. If they look at this and think, he went into the Rose Bowl with a lot on the line and he played really well. I mean, that will show them something and will only help his stock. That's one reason why I think it may be the biggest game of his career so far.
Michelle, is Jayden capable of having a big statistical game, given that Rachaad White is basically his big target right now?
I think so. I think we've seen some Jayden a lot in the last couple of weeks. The first couple games, you just didn't know what to expect because of the level of the opponent. But I think he's made great strides in the last couple of weeks. And maybe this is what we had hoped to see from him last year. But because last year was kind of upside down and only played 4 games, we didn't get that developmental stage of Jayden's career as a sophomore that we would have liked to have seen. So I think that's why we're seeing him make some strides now. And I definitely think that with what I saw from Johnny Wilson, LV Bunkley Shelton, they made some catches last week, and they had 3 receivers that had 70 or more yards last week. So that kind of shows me that they're making strides and he's gaining more confidence in those guys.
All right, let's do it. It's prediction time. 7:30 Saturday. UCLA a 3.5-point favorite. Greg, you have plenty of time to think about this. We'll go to you last. Kent, start with you. Your prediction for this game.
I'm going to go. I think this is a tough one for the Sun Devils. It all depends. I think, Thompson-Robison of UCLA banged up a shoulder last week against Stanford. He came back, but is he 100%? I'm kind of assuming he's going to be. I'm going to give this one to UCLA 27-24.
27-24. Michelle?
You stole my score, Kent. That's literally exactly what I was going to say. All right, I'm going to go, because I don't want to go with the same thing. I'm going to go, let's go 28-25. I still think UCLA wins it. Not that I don't think ASU can win it, but I'm going to give them a slight nod for playing at home, so that's what I'm going with.
Greg, maybe no prediction, maybe just a thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean, what do you say?
Oh, man, are you kidding me? Of course I got a prediction. Where did Jackie Robinson go to college? Anybody?
Pasadena City College and UCLA.
UCLA. And what number did Jackie Robinson wear? 42. And where did Pat Tillman go to college? SU. And what number did Pat Tillman wear? 42. We're going to have a 42-42 game, and ASU wins.
Oh, the old safe choice, the old non-prediction prediction from Greg. We've come to enjoy that. Saturday night at the Rose Bowl, ASU takes on UCLA. All your coverage at azcentral.com.